Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Average Joe Sports Show. I am Braden Goode and we are joined again by my dad, Mark Goode. And so thank you for coming on the show, Mark. How's it going?
Good.
Good. So today what we're actually going to cover is I made a top 10 point guards of all time, starting from number 10 and working our way down to number 1. And as I go through, I'm going to sort of share my beliefs as to why I put them in that ranking, and then we'll see if Mark agrees or disagrees with me. So let me just go and get
there's going to be some disagreement.
Yeah, he got a little preview of the list, so this should be good. We'll see what we got going on here. All right, so top 10 point guards across all eras. So we're going to get started with number 10, Chris Paul. Wait, my numbers are still way messed up. Hang on.
It looks like number 9.
Yeah, that's number 9. That's not right. We're supposed to have. Why did it skip like that? That's weird. Okay. There we go. We should be back on track. Had a little bit of technical difficulties there. Okay, so we're starting off at number 10, where I have Allen Iverson. I know that a lot of people have him as a 2 guard on a lot of things, but I feel like he pretty much ran the offense, especially in Philadelphia. He had a crossover, and granted, I will say that a lot of his crossovers were probably a carry, but since that doesn't get called in today's NBA anymore, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, he averaged 26.7 points. You know, he was the rookie of the year, 7-time All-NBA, 11-time All-Star, won the MVP. And he's sort of, I know he kind of inspired a lot of younger athletes to play basketball. And he was very undersized, and he was a decent thief at getting the ball from you. So I put him up there number 10 because I feel like he just had good numbers. He could get to the rim. He could score at will. And I remember when he was playing the Lakers, they had issues slowing him down until they put a guy that was just as quick as him. And then they were able to slow him down a little bit. But that first game that they lost, he was just torching them. So the guy could score. He could get it done. So that's why I got him number 10, because I think he was a dynamite scorer, and even though he's undersized.
Yeah, I mean, he did all those things. I'm not sure how good a teammate he was, but, he didn't like to practice. That's the big knock on Allen Iverson is, but he did know how to play the game, and, his speed made up for his lack of size.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch highlights where he's just crossing people over, and it is insane how quick he moved with the ball.
And as you mentioned, 40 years ago that was illegal, but
but now it's all about offense. Yeah. So would you agree or disagree then with this pick for number 10?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. He was pretty dynamic.
All right. So it looks like we got number 10. That one got squared away. So we're good. So you say we're in agreement on number 10?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the rest of your list is, but sure. I might want to reorganize after I see the rest of your list.
Okay. So let's go ahead and jump on over to number 9, where we have Chris Paul, who has the nickname of the Point God. I think he has great court vision. I mean, I think it's almost. I think it's. I mean, I don't want to say I don't think he's as good as Magic Johnson as a passer, or as the same court vision, because he's a lot smaller. But I feel like he can get the ball done and he can win. He hasn't. I mean, granted, he hasn't won in the playoffs. Like, that is a big knock against him, that he can't seem to get past the
first
Western
round
Conference Finals. No, he got the Western Conference Finals with the Houston Rockets, and they might have won if he hadn't gotten injured. But
yeah, and who are they playing?
They were playing the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
and they were up 3-2, I think, and they were probably gonna. And then he got injured, and that's sort of. I mean, who knows? Maybe the Warriors would have pulled it out. But
yeah, I have issues with your list. Chris Paul is not on my. I can't imagine Chris Paul making my top 10.
I mean, but if you look at his stats, 18 points, almost 10 assists a game. I mean, the guy, especially back when he was younger, and he just wins. I mean, look at the Phoenix Suns. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder last year. You know, they were a terrible team, and then Chris Paul into town, and oh wait, they're the number 4 seed in the playoffs. Then you look at the Phoenix Suns; they're on a winning. They're winning a lot of their games.
Number 4 seed in the playoffs, and then they get beat in the first round, like always.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I do have that knock against them, that playoff success. I like it. You can see down there, never had playoff success, you know. But if you go people who never had playoff success, then that's a very short list. So I think and that's why I have him all the way down to number 9 is because, you know, he just hasn't had that playoff success. And I think that docks him for me and puts him all the way down to number 9.
No, it's huge.
Yeah.
You gotta win big games. It's easy to win regular season games. It's the games in the playoffs that are the hard ones.
Yeah. And I won't disagree with that. But like I said, he has very good playmaking skills. He's a good defender. I mean, he led the league in steal. I mean, he looks like he led the league in steals several times. So it's not that he's a bad defender. You know, he's got good offense, good defense. He was sort of the whole package, especially when he was younger.
Yeah, he's never gonna get to the top of the mountain.
No, probably not. Especially not playing for the Phoenix Suns. What he needed to do is get himself over to the Lakers back when they tried to trade him away for Pau Gasol. But you know, the NBA said, no, we don't want to do that.
They try.
Oh no, was it Pau? Was it Pau?
No,
it was Lamar Odom. That's who it was. It was Lamar Odom. They wanted to trade away.
Yeah, they ended up getting Pau because they didn't get Chris Paul. I think they ended up in a better position.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant would have been a dynamite combo right there.
They needed somebody big to contend with the Kendrick Perkins and Kevin Garnett's and.
Well, no dispersions against Pau Gasol, but he wasn't really. I mean, Kevin Garnett owned him in the first time they played the Celtics. So he got owned by Garnett, and then he did shape up a little bit more, but I don't know. It's not ideal. No. So they did try to trade Pau Gasol to the Rockets. I just looked at the trade right now. That was after they already won a couple of ships with Pau Gasol, and he was getting older. I think they tried to trade him to get Chris Paul. Yeah. So there's that for you. So number 9, Chris Paul, and we're not in agreement there because apparently who would you say is number 9 then? Who would you put at number 9 for of all time point guards?
Fat Lever.
Okay. I'm not
Denver Nuggets.
I'm not super familiar with him, but okay. Did Fat Lever make it into the Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay,
I don't think. Well,
if he did make it in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Chris Paul's not in the Hall of Fame.
He will be.
Not in my book. Yeah, it's the NBA Hall of Pretty Good.
Yeah, Fat Lever didn't even make it into the Hall of Fame. So how can you have him as a top 10 point guard if he never made the Hall of Fame?
Well,
but you know, I mean, if that's what you're thinking, then you know, kudos to you. That's your opinion. But yeah,
I don't know. Is Bob Cousy on your list?
Bob Cousy is on my list. He's a little further down.
Is Jerry West on your list?
Wasn't he a shooting guard? I feel like he was a 2 guard. I feel like that's pretty much what he was.
Okay, was Gail Goodrich on your list?
Gail Goodrich was not. No.
Okay, I would put Gail Goodrich. If you want a Hall of Famer, I'll take Gail Goodrich over Chris Paul.
I can go with Gail Goodrich. He was a solid player. And number 8, we have Jason Kidd, who finally got a championship with the Dallas Mavericks. He beat out LeBron James's Miami Heat to do it. 10-time All-Star. 12. I mean, he didn't really. His numbers aren't going to blow you away as far as like per game. But
no, they're not.
But he is second in all-time assists, behind John Stockton.
You play a super long time, and you're going to pile up a lot of assists.
Yeah, I mean, but he's 9-time all-defensive team. So I mean, the guy he had offense and defense. So I got him at number 8 because.
Yeah, Jason Kidd was good, but. I think I don't know, a little high.
A little high. You would have put him at number 10 maybe, or is it not
Well,
correct?
yeah, I think Iverson was probably a little more for what he gave you, and then Gail Goodrich obviously I think is better than the kid. He
Well,
was
yeah.
averaging 25 something points a game.
Let's see what did Gail Goodrich put up. Averaged 18.6 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 4.7 assists.
Eh,
And
it was a
32 minutes
different
a
game.
game for his career. Yeah, it was a lot more. It wasn't as
He
high
was,
scoring, and
yeah, he was sharing point guard duties with Jerry West basically. Between the two of them, they were one A and one B on the point guard shooting guard hierarchy.
which is actually what a lot of teams are moving to now. I mean, you look at the Houston Rockets. You have James Harden, Kyrie Irving. They're pretty much 1A, 1B as far as point guard goes. I think James Harden should be playing point guard because I think he's a better passer than Kyrie Irving is.
But they're playing for Brooklyn, not Houston.
Oh, did I see Houston?
That's where you go when you think of James Harden.
Exactly. I think of Houston. I'm like, James Harden. I mean, I know he played for the Thunder, and then he went to Houston. It's so weird to think of him playing for the Brooklyn Nets. But I know you're a huge James Harden fan. I know you love you some James Harden.
Well, I think the guy scores whenever he feels like it, and I think he's a better defender than you think he is, and let's face it, the guy can score as many points as he wants until he runs into pretty stiff competition. I mean, there's very few teams that can absolutely just take him out of the game.
Yeah, well, I still remember a couple years ago when he absolutely just destroyed Wesley Johnson's ankles when he played for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stood there and stared at him for a minute before he just drained the shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about a crossover. That guy's got a good crossover.
Yeah, he gets to the paint. He gets free throws like nobody's business. James Harden is a machine on the scoring end of the team.
And I think I might have put him on here for point guards. I feel like he's not really a point guard though, but I feel like maybe if he
Harden?
had a bit more Harden, I don't think he's. I mean, he's always been a two guard, so that's sort of where he's always been listed.
He's
so
a two guard that always has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I couldn't justify putting him as a point guard. I might have put him on here if I thought of him as a point guard, but I don't know. I feel like he hasn't been enough in his career.
You look at his scoring and his scoring and assists. You know, he runs the team. How he goes is how his team goes. If he's not doing well, the team is not doing well. So,
yeah. All right. So number 8, we got Jason Kidd, who, it's kind of funny that so many people compared Lonzo Ball to Jason Kidd coming out, and now it's sort of Lonzo Ball's kind of not lived up to that lofty expectation. So,
well, he can't shoot.
Oh, that's that's the problem with Giannis is he can't shoot either. But
but Giannis can figure out ways to get to the rim.
Yeah,
and regardless.
All right, so going on to number 7, where we have Steve Nash, the champion of the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. He started the revolution. I feel like for today's NBA, he sort of started that quick offense, quick passing. He and Mike D'Antoni. 14 points, 8.5 assists. So, I mean, he wasn't a great scorer, but he could knock the 3 ball down. He had good, he won MVP twice. Although I feel like, to be honest, he did steal one of those MVPs from Kobe, and he probably stole the other one from Shaq. So maybe he doesn't deserve 2 MVPs, but he's got him. You can't take him away from him. But I think he was a number 7 on the point guard list. I think he's a little bit better than Jason Kidd, just because he sort of changed the game a little bit. He and Mike D'Antoni, it's because of him that I feel like he laid the ground for Steve Kerr's Warriors to come into effect.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of laid the beginning of the groundwork for quick offense, outside shooting, just go run.
And wasn't he on that Dallas
Not the team that won. No, he was on Dallas. He was on Dallas with Jason Kidd for a few years. I think he got drafted by Dallas, and then they traded him.
Yeah.
Because he and Jason Kidd were playing together for a few years. But he's third all time for assists as well. So he could definitely pass the ball, and it's beneficial when you're just, when you're getting out in transition, it's easy to rack up those assists.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like his last couple years in the league probably dragged down his assist numbers because there was those years he was on the Lakers and he was just absolutely horrible.
Well, yeah, he didn't play a lot of games, so that didn't affect him too much overall. But yeah, when his knees were shot, he was done. But when he was on top, he was a fun player to watch. He was pretty exciting and great passer, great court vision, understood the game. So, I don't know who you've got above him, but yeah, he's pretty solid. Top 7, top 10, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that he deserves to be up there. So going at number 6, I think this is where I put Bob Cousy, because he's a 6-time champion, 13-time All-Star, won the MVP. I looked, and he was a 12-time All. I mean, he was on a team with Bill Russell, and that's why he got 6 rings. But still, I mean, that's something no one really talks about is the fact that he got 6 rings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people talk about, Michael Jordan has 6 championships, and Kareem had 6 championships, and LeBron's only got, he got 4 now?
LeBron, yeah.
Yeah, he's got 4 now. So it's like, and those people are to talk about as like, greatest of all time. But, people forget that Bob Cousy he wasn't a stat stuffer, but I mean, he did win 6
he's
times.
no slouch. 18.4 points and 7.5 assists, and over 5 rebounds for a guard is
not bad.
Pretty solid numbers. And yeah, 12 times All NBA. Not too many guys in today's NBA can have numbers even approaching that.
Well, and he also led the league in assists 8 times. So,
yeah.
I mean, he was the assist leader 8 times. So, I mean, he could definitely, and he was one of those people that he was, when he came in, he sort of was known for his passing and ball handling. Like that was something that he excelled at.
And it was a more of a team-oriented game rather than the ISO game that's so popular now. And so, as a point guard, you probably started the play, and because your first pass, the third pass got the basket maybe, so you don't get an assist, but you got it all going. So
yeah,
it was a different game, and he had great team to play with. I mean, those Celtics teams were pretty hot. They were
11 rings.
Yeah,
Bill Russell had 11 rings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were very good.
All right, then we got moving on to number 5. We have Stephen Curry, and I put him top 5 because I mean he is one of the greatest shooters the game's ever seen, if not the greatest shooter. I mean, I think some people might say he's second only to Ray Allen, but he's second all time in 3-pointers made, and he's closing fast. By the time his career ends, I'm sure he'll have passed Ray Allen for most 3-pointers made. And he's a 3-time champion. Granted, his teams were stacked. When he won those championships, I mean, he had one with KD, Clay, Durant, Green. Like those teams were loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a shooter. And he sort of started this 3-point era that we're in. I feel like Steve Nash got the ball rolling, and then Steph Curry sort of pushed it down the hill.
Yeah, he shoots from farther away than anybody did before him, with a higher degree of accuracy. Yeah, he's definitely changed the game. Guys are shooting 3-pointers like they never did before because of what he did. And he revolutionized the game, definitely.
Yeah, so that's why I have him at number 5.
It's hard to believe he was the first unanimous MVP.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
At least I believe that's accurate. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he was.
No, that's just the voters getting it wrong multiple times.
Yeah, it was Steph Curry. Yeah, first unanimous winner 15-16 season. So
yeah,
first unanimous winner in NBA history. Two-time MVP, 3-time champion. Although I'm a little surprised he's only a 6-time All-Star considering how long he's played. I feel like that kind of surprised me a little bit. But
Well, he's had several years where he was injured.
oh, that's true. That's why they got him on a great discount.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with his, especially early in his career. Took him a while to get healthy, get strong enough to play a full season.
Yeah. So 6-time All-Star. I mean, that's not great, but he's still got a few more. He's still got a few more years left in him to see if he can get that up. Although when you look at but it's kind of funny that he went number 7 overall. And you look at all these teams that are probably shooting themselves. You got the Memphis who took Hasheem Thabeet, who was an absolute flop. Tyreek Evans was a mini flop. He wasn't. He sort of had I feel like he sort of picked up his career a little bit. Ricky Rubio, not nearly on the same level. Johnny Flynn, I barely have heard of that guy. I barely know the name.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
That's
Minnesota
unfortunate.
went back to back, and their 2 picks were Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn. And then right after that, Stephen Curry. I'm sure pretty much all those teams except for Oklahoma are probably shooting themselves in the foot. I feel like they don't regret. I feel like they shouldn't regret getting James Harden, and the Clippers shouldn't regret Blake Griffin. I think that was a good pick. But but I feel like all those other teams that went before them were probably like, oh my gosh, we blew it.
Well, he was coming out of a small school, so you don't know how tough the competition is, and you don't know if what he could do was going to translate. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
And every year there's guys that are expected to be great NBA players, and they flame out in a couple of years, and there's other guys that get drafted in the second round and they become perennial all-stars. So, I mean, some of it's a crapshoot. You're just hoping.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, you know what? I mean, go ahead.
Well, look at Kevin Durant, number 2.
Yeah.
Was he the second best player? Not even close.
Michael Jordan, number 2.
Yeah.
number 3.
It's like
Michael Jordan, number 3. Michael Jordan's number 3.
Yeah. Every year there's some team or teams that just totally get it wrong.
Yeah. So Steph Curry, number 5 all-time list. I think that's a pretty solid placement for him because of just sort of what he could do for what he did for the game. So that's why I stuck him at number 5. Number 4, we have Isaiah Thomas, who was a Finals MVP, 5-time All-NBA selection, 2-time champion, 19 points, 9.3 assists, top 10 in assists. He was a tough player. He was a guy who would knock you down if he came into the paint. He was a guy who didn't care. He'd get up in your face.
That seems highly unlikely at his size. I don't think he knocked anybody down. He just let Joe Dumars and Bill Laimbeer knock people down.
Yeah, but I think he could knock somebody down if he got the opportunity to.
Yeah, if he pushed you from behind.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas didn't knock anybody down. Isaiah Thomas was a midget.
Yeah, but he played bigger than his size though. I mean, he was definitely unafraid.
He was tough and he was unafraid, but he wasn't their defensive last line of defense guys. They had Rick Mahorn, Bill Laimbeer. Those were the guys that were doing the dirty work.
Yeah, he just bark at you as you coming up the court.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of a trash talker, I'm sure.
But yeah, so I got him at number 4 just because I think he's a pretty accomplished player. I mean, yeah, he might not have been, the guy knocking people on their butts, but he was definitely unafraid.
He was unafraid to go into the lane. As a small guard, he would take it to the rim, and so on that end of the game, he was unafraid, and he would play defense, but he wasn't the guy. I mean, he had quickness. He was gritty, but that Bad Boys team was Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn. Those guys were doing the dirty work. Joe Dumars.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas was just the face. Was just the face while those guys were doing the
Well,
recognizable.
Isaiah had the ball, so he was making all the sweet passes, and he ran the floor. He got them up and down. He was a great point guard.
Yeah. So agree with the pick, or should or think guys think should have been slid up or down?
No, he's well. I don't. Well, I can guess who you've got. I can guess at least two that you have ahead of him, and I wouldn't change those guys out. So.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I'm not sure who I have at number 3. I'm trying to think who it is. It's not coming to me off the top of my head. We'll get there. But yeah, I mean, 12-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA selection, won the Finals MVP. So, almost 10 assists a game, top 10 in assists. Like, he was definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he sort of started. And I feel like he should have made that Olympics team back in the day. But whatever.
Instead of Christian Laettner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Instead of Christian Laettner. I mean, heck, Shaq should have made the team before Christian Laettner. Shaq could have won the bench just as well as Christian could have. I
don't think Shaq was eligible at that.
Yeah, he was. I remember reading the thing, or he said he felt left off. That was he came out that he came out.
Was he a freshman that year?
I think he came out as like the first pick the next year after the Olympics was over. So he was still in college.
Yeah, he was definitely still in college.
So yeah, but he was definitely disappointed that they didn't call him out there. But I think Isaiah Thomas should have been there over Christian Laettner. But
they had to have one
college guy,
one amateur on the team.
Yeah, had to have one bench warmer.
Yeah.
And getting down into number 3, where we John Stockton. Okay, yeah, John Stockton. I think that's kind of a no duh for number 3. I mean, he never won, which is a knock against him. But to be fair, he ran into twice in the finals. He ran into the Michael Jordan buzzsaw.
And before that, he was running into the Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Lakers to even get to the finals.
Yeah,
he was on the wrong end of really good teams.
Yeah, so that kind of counts against him, I think, in the legacy department. But that's why I got him at number 3 because, I mean, he is the all-time leader in career assists. Over 3,000 assists is the next closest person. He's got over 15,000. Next person's got barely over 12,000.
Yeah, I don't know who you have at number 2, but I would put John Stockton at number 2 myself.
Number 2. Oh, okay. That makes sense. But yeah, I think John Stockton, he was also, I feel like he's an underrated defender as well.
He was a very good defender, and he was crafty, and he didn't have to score a ton because he had Karl Malone and Jeff Hornacek on those Utah Jazz teams, as well as a few other guys. But he was the guy that got that engine going, and a great passer, great teammate. That's why I would put him at number 2. There's not too many guys that could do all the things that he could do and do them so well for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a little underrated. I think a lot of people sort of underrate him just overall.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give him much credit as he's due because, I mean, you look at his points. I mean, he's only averaging 12 points. I mean, that's not a lot.
Yeah, but you had Karl Malone that was averaging close to 30, and you know why? Because John Stockton was there.
John Stockton got him the ball.
Yeah.
So I got him at number 3. Because I think the two guys, I mean, number 1, I think everyone knows who number 1's going to be without even, without much discussion. But
I know who my number 1 is.
Yeah. So we're going on to our number 2 overall, who is Oscar Robertson. He won the NBA champion. He's an NBA champion, won the MVP, all team selections, the first player to ever record a triple-double roll over an entire season. 25 points, 9.5 assists. I mean, a solid number. Yeah. So I think that because of that, I got number 2 because he was, I feel like he was unstoppable at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, averaging a triple double for a season is insane. I mean, now that you have other players that have done it, but still, I mean, back when that was done, that was
Well, in the era that he did it, that was unheard of. But I would hazard to guess that that wasn't even a big deal made over, triple doubles. I don't even think that was
that was a
a
thing.
term back then. I could be wrong. He was a
Yeah.
little bit ahead of my recollections of players, but I think this is a great pick. Oscar was, somebody I'd kind of forgotten about, but obviously just a great player.
So would you put John Stockton ahead of him, or are you good at number 3?
You know what? I'll accept your 2 and 3 positioning. Oscar was good. He was on a good Bucks team with Kareem.
Yeah.
Where he got his championship, I think.
Yep, he won. He and Kareem won it, and then that team broke up a little bit, which is unfortunate for him, but good for Kareem because he got himself to the Lakers.
Well, he was at the tail end of his career by then.
Yeah.
And yeah, that trade was bad for the Bucks, but great for the Lakers.
Yeah. So apparently over the course of his career, he has 181 triple doubles over the course of his career. So I'm gonna look up real quick to see what who the next person is. Give me a sec. I should look that up earlier, but let's see. Yeah, so the next closest is Russell Westbrook, and he's 30 away. So it's possible that he'll pass Oscar Robertson, but
I don't know. Is he still racking up triple doubles?
I don't think so. I think he's
occasionally.
I think his athleticism has pretty much sapped his ability to do that. It's gone.
Yeah, he's not the player he once was, and I don't think he'll ever be again.
Yeah. So I mean that's a mark that could stand because I don't see any other player being able to reach 181. I think Russell Westbrook's going to be the one with the best chance to do it. I don't think he will.
Well, how many does Magic have?
Magic's at 138. So, and then you got Jason Kidd 107, LeBron James 97, and Wilt Chamberlain at 78. So there's a guy. There's a big man sitting there in the top 6. So kudos to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think for number 1, I don't think there's ever any doubt. I don't think anybody ever ranks anyone above him. But number 1, you got to have Earvin Magic Johnson, who was one of the first players to change the game, who saved the NBA. He and Larry Bird, definitely saved the NBA from what it was. 19.5 points, 7.2 rebounds, 11.2 assists. Number 5 all-time assist leader. And he was number 1 in only 13. Like in 13 seasons, he was the number 1 guy, and then he got passed up by players that had a longer career. Unfortunately, he had the whole HIV thing, which stole 5 years of his career. If he had gotten to play those 5 years, who knows what he would be at?
Yeah.
I mean, those were 5 prime years that got stolen from him.
So, well, I mean, he was in his 30s.
Yeah, but still, I mean, but a local player like Magic Johnson, whose game isn't predicated upon athleticism, and those guys have several prime. I mean, you just look at what LeBron James is doing in year 18.
Yeah, no, his game and his game translates like LeBron's does in a lot of ways. His craftiness, his court vision, his just overall intelligence on the court, and his ability to see where guys were going to be and get the ball to them. His ability to make passes from ridiculous angles and right on the money. There was no player like him before, and there haven't been any since, that had all of his tools.
I think the closest you'll come to is LeBron is the closest to.
And they're similar size. LeBron's actually bigger, but and he's not as nifty a passer as Magic was.
Yeah.
But
he's got his moments, but he's definitely not as good of a passer.
No, I mean Magic's. You just look at Magic's highlight reels, and it just blows you away. Even now, I mean.
Oh yeah.
There was no player like him at all. He's clearly, I mean, head and shoulders number 1. I've said it multiple times, as you know. He's one of my top players of all time. There's not a lot of guys that compete with that skill level.
No, and
for me.
yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, I just remember watching one of the plays he had. I mean, he was also strong. I mean, you wouldn't think it to look at him. He looks kind of slender. But I remember seeing one highlight where he just steals the ball, puts one hand on it, pins it against the ground, and there's got two defenders you got two guys trying to get the ball from him, and he's just got his hand over it, just nope, not getting it. Like, I mean, yeah. So I had him number one. I don't think anybody else. I don't know if there's even a discussion for anyone else to be number one point guard. I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody agrees universally across the board that he is the best point guard of all time. I mean, I think a lot of people might have him in their top 5 overall, especially because of what he did for the league.
Yeah, I mean, he and Larry Bird coming into the league, they made it a worldwide league. They made it must-see TV. Before they got, and even after they were in the league for a few years, NBA was not top of the game like it is now, where prime time, they changed basketball from a secondary sport to a number one.
Yeah, so that's why I got him at number one, especially because he has 3 MVP awards. That's not something a lot of players can boast about.
Yeah, 5-time champion, 3 MVPs. They probably should have had 2 other. They lost in the finals twice, 2 other times when they probably should have won. I mean, he was on a really good team.
Oh yeah, his team was stacked.
That was you don't win without having a really good team, and that's. But he was the one that got it started.
Yeah, So number one, Magic Johnson. So overall, I know you disagreed with my Chris Paul pick for number 9. Overall, who would, if you just off the top of your head, who would you put as your top 10?
I would have Magic. I like Oscar. I like Stockton and Isaiah. I like Stephen Curry. I like Damian Lillard. I think there's not a lot of guys that can do what he does. Like I said, Gail Goodrich and Jerry West, you could take either one of those as your point guard and put the other one as the shooting guard. Bob Cousy is obviously a top 10 type caliber talent. Was trying to think of some of the old timers. I can't think of any off the top of my head. A lot more shooting guards, Gervin and Alex English.
Yeah, I feel like point guards were a little bit not as big back in the day.
Yeah. I'm
trying to think. I think there was a couple other ones I saw. Walt Frazier, I saw him.
Walt Frazier was a great point guard. Yeah.
I think he just barely missed. Missed my list.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he can't. With the Phil Jackson's teams, the point guards were kind of marginalized. They had shooting guards, but they didn't have great point guards, even though they had some guys that could do some good stuff, but they weren't great point guards in the true control of the game kind of way that the point guard is expected to control the game.
Well, it was also an era back then. I mean, back then it was all about the big.
Yeah, you got Dennis Johnson with the Celtics back in the 80s was another really great player. So yeah, you had in the 80s, you had Magic and Dennis Johnson and John Stockton and Isaiah Thomas, 4 really good point guards. In the 60s, you had Jerry West and Bob Cousy and Walt Frazier in the 70s, because those guys kind of 60s and 70s.
Got Nate Archibald, dude. That was
Nate
another,
Archibald.
was
There's
another player.
another, yeah, another great player from that 70s time frame. And don't forget Fat Lever.
Yeah, Fat Lever. Yeah, that's your number. That's your number 9, right? You're taking him over.
I'll put him at number 11. I'll put him at number. Yeah, I'll put him at. He wasn't Walt Frazier good.
Yeah,
but he was good. I mean, Stephon Marbury.
I'm not a fan of Stephon Marbury. He's definitely not top 10 material.
No, I'm just throwing it out there for you.
Well, if we're going that route, then I'm going to throw out there Tyrone Lue, the guy who shut down Allen Iverson in the
playoffs. It's not just Tyrone Lue that shut down Allen Iverson. The team bought into we need to stop this guy, and then the rest of them can't beat us.
Yeah.
You just have to take the one guy out of the game. It's like, yeah, teams do that all the time. If you can do one thing, we'll let you do that one thing, but we won't let you do anything else. And then you won't be able to win.
Yeah. Well, that has been my top 10 list of point guards. So feel free to post in the comments if you agree, disagree. Let me know if there's any other topics you want me to cover. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Mark. I appreciate it. It's been a blast. I always love having you on. It's good to talk sports with you.
Always fun. Thanks.
So thank you, and have a good rest of your night.
All right.